Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm okay. Well, I myself. And for 2 reasons now. Shut up! I'm recording! I love you! A couple days ago, I watched Superman Solar, a fan film that had a lot of heart but fell flat when it came to a lot of the direction and writing in it. I made a video about it, and so far the reception has actually been pretty good. I hope most people understand that it's all in good fun and I'm not actually trying to hurt anyone or anyone's feelings that was involved in making this movie. The same way people have every right to make fun of me and criticize me for what I'm doing here. For example, I had a pimple before starting to record this, and my girlfriend convinced me to put a little makeup on it, and it's all I can think about. As long as you're not trying to be malicious or genuinely threatening, it's fine. Have at it. But because I watched that movie and made that review, I was reminded of another fan film that was also coming out around this time. In fact, it just came out a couple days ago. And I watched it. Spider-Man Lotus has been in production for years, having raised over $112,000 for its budget. And that's not a huge budget when it comes to a Hollywood film by any means, but for an indie film, goddamn, that's a thick bitch. It was spearheaded and directed by Gavin J. Conop with an actually pretty large cast and crew behind it. Now Gavin actually made headlines for a little while and overshadowed his movie for, let's just say like some unsavory comments in the past, to say like the absolute least. I am going to say that's not what the beginning part of this video is going to be about. I'm going to try to genuinely review this movie unbiased as a film. It's going to be a little hard considering, but I'm going to try. I will. And then at the end of this video, I'll probably throw in my opinion on the situation that's happening with the director. Okay, so let's go.
Well, I'm not quite sure where I should start.
Try the beginning.
When I think about you, I don't know. It was gone before we could blink.
Okay, get ready for a lot of this. A lot of long, droning, sweeping shots of a city that he may or may not have filmed himself, by the way, and a long, droning monologue to go on top of it. And then there's a few silly people punching each other in between. And that's about it. I hate to spoil the movie for you in the first couple minutes here, but I did. But it doesn't look bad, right? Like, oh no. First of all, it looks like a car commercial, and not a good one. Like, I want to say it looks like PS2 graphics, but it doesn't. I mean, it obviously looks better. Like, these aren't terrible VFX. It's just, when you just went from such a high-quality, realistic 4K city shot to now this Blender-ass render. Like, come on, man. And again, I'm not trying to diss the VFX artists. These are actually very impressive VFX. It's just that they don't work. Like, the director should have worked with an editor to kind of comp the VFX in with real footage to make it work more, because this could work. Can he do that? Oh, that's cute. See, this doesn't look bad.
All right, fellas, not all at once. I can only sign so many autographs.
All right, so there's a little action scene here between Spider-Man and some goons that he's fighting, and he takes them out pretty swiftly before someone special shows up. Shocker shoots shockwaves. They're not electricity. I'm assuming he knows this. This director and writer is very faithful to the source material of Spider-Man and seems to be a very big Spider-Man fan. Maybe he just didn't know how to get the VFX artist to convey shockwaves, but why electricity? That's Electro. Like, there's a whole other villain for that. Why didn't you just do Electro if this was the only effects that you could get?
What? What are you wearing?
It's my shocker suit.
Your shocker suit. That's what you're called.
Yeah, it's my shocker suit.
Shocker suit.
Yeah,
That's what you're called.
it's my shocker suit.
Shocker suit.
Yeah, the writing is pretty bad in this too. It's slightly better than Superman Solar. And obviously the production value is better. But it also had about $90,000 more than Superman Solar. So, you know, there's that. Did I just defend Superman Solar? I think that fall might have messed with my head more than I think.
It's my shocker suit.
Your shocker suit. That's what you're called.
Yeah,
It's like it has the vibe of a Spider-Man quip, but it wasn't funny. He just repeated it back to him.
yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god, they're dead. Spider-Man would... I don't mean to be this guy, but Spider-Man would never use people as human shields. Like, they're dead. I think most Spider-Man movies have outright said it. Maybe some haven't, but Spider-Man doesn't kill people. He pulls his punches and just knocks people out, you know? So for him to literally throw people in the way of a deadly shockwave blast, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. So then, as usual Spider-Man fashion, Peter shows up late to a movie. Clearly Gwen is very distant, especially at the beginning here. It seems like she's very upset that he's not there.
Flash Thompson, Liz Allen.
Never gonna last.
No, in a shoe game, absolutely embarrassing.
MJ, I have hair just like this.
Now it's our hair.
Maybe the problem is you don't listen when people are talking, Pete.
Hey, what do you guys say we...
Wasn't MJ talking? Like, could you imagine being her, like, yeah, no, yeah, and then we could absolutely...
hey, what do you guys say we go grab some dinner?
Yeah, sure, Pete. So Pete wants to go grab a bite to eat with all of them since he was late for the movie, but Gwen doesn't want to. She's a little upset. He wants to go home. But apparently Peter has a bigger plan, so he's trying to convince Harry to come on.
Well, hey, wait a minute. It's barely too late.
Barely too late? It's barely too late? That's not a phrase.
No, come on, I'll pay for you guys. Completely on me.
Harry.
I know the perfect place, too.
So throughout this whole night, Peter and Gwen, like, don't even talk, really. They barely look at each other. They don't have any kind of chemistry whatsoever. And then we get this bomb dropped on us. In what universe were those two people who were just sitting together awkwardly not talking the entire night ready to get married? What, did we miss something? Set these characters up a little bit more, man.
I wish we had more time together.
Also, Peter keeps kind of alluding to the fact that Gwen is going to die, which is an interesting setup. I like not knowing at any moment when they're hanging out if something could happen, or maybe he tries to flip the script on its head and it doesn't happen when you expect it. It is an interesting hook in the first 10 minutes of it. I will give it that.
Following the deaths of Captain George Stacy, his daughter Gwen Stacy, and now the most recent victim, Norman Osborn.
Oh, never mind, she's dead. Yep, there was a 6-minute animated intro, and then she died. What? That was like my only hook going into it. Why would you can't... I know this movie's supposed to be about handling grief and dealing with grief, but for us to relate to someone dealing with grief, we need to spend a little time with those people. And the 6 minutes within that 15 minutes, even though 6 minutes of it was also animation, was not enough time to actually get to know these people by any means. I don't even know what Peter's like. He just kind of seems like quiet and like lame. Oh, cut to title screen, Spider-Man Lotus. It's revealed that at some point in time, him and the Green Goblin had a face-off which led to Gwen Stacy's death that he blames himself for. One of the things I don't like about this movie, that it suffers a lot from, is pretending that you already know a lot of Spider-Man's history. And I am a big Spider-Man fan. I didn't grow up reading a lot of the comics, but I watched all of the movies, I played all the video games, like even the fucking Game Boy Advance games. I had every single one. I was obsessed with Spider-Man. My parents were never really into comics, so I didn't read all of the other arcing storylines. But even me being a big fan doesn't know much about the Gwen Stacy storyline, because that was kept a lot for the comic. So for him to kind of assume that we know a lot more about their relationship, about them together, it's not good filmmaking. You can't assume that everybody knows other source materials going into something. Like, could you imagine if Peter Jackson did that with Lord of the Rings? Like, you already know. You know who that guy is. They just call him what's up. What's up, bud? You don't even need to know. Oh, Frodo? Oh, yeah. You know who that is. It's kind of a silly move. It's a bit of a silly bonehead move, in my opinion. What is this fucking envelope? And she's trying to look so inconspicuous. Hold on. Hey, Peter. Hey. Oh, nothing. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. All right, so then we have this scene where Peter is like super rude to MJ. And again, in the first 20 minutes, we still haven't seen a side of Peter that's actually relatable in any way. He's just angry all the time. We don't know if that's just how he always is.
I'm asking you why you're here. What do you want?
I'm worried about you, Peter.
You're worried about me?
Yes.
I'm trying to recall when I've ever seen you worry about anything.
Yes,
I know better
I am.
than most. You never cared about that. Never.
It's like, Jesus, dude. She's genuinely trying to help you in a time of grief, and you're just being an absolute dick. Oh, and by the way, that letter she gave him was from a terminally ill child who wants to meet Spider-Man. And spoilers, he doesn't go right away. Jesus Christ. So Peter comes home to find Harry on his couch, almost overdosed or hungover. I'm not sure, because he has alcohol, but then there's also a bottle of pills. So, I mean, he probably should be dead. But let's assume he attempted. Who knows? Instead, they just fight about who is more damaged. And again, Peter's like a huge dick in this because he goes off on Harry for not being there after Gwen died, when literally his father also died. And again, I guess if you know the history of Spider-Man and how Norman Osborn is kind of a dick and him and Harry don't really get along, it might make sense, but we don't know that. So all we know is that Peter is a fucking douchebag again. You know that Gwen died, you haven't been there. Dude, my dad died. Yeah, well, did you have sex with your dad? I didn't think so. It's just a lot of yelling. Like, I think he thought he was filming Marriage Story here or something. I just want to see Spider-Man, like, do stuff. Then we cut to a dream sequence similar to Under the Silver Lake. And it's just here to show more of his guilt about how she's dead and you get over it. Dude, put the suit on, for fuck's sake. Oh, okay. That's fair.
Floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
So Green Goblin ends up quoting The Raven, the Edgar Allan Poe poem, and it's actually about a man who can't get over his long-lost love's death. So it is very fitting, but I have a weird feeling it's part of the source material and not something Gavin came up with. I don't know why I refuse to give him credit, but no, wait, I think I do know why. So not only did we just have a dream sequence to show Peter's sadness and guilt, but now we have a 5-minute sequence of him watching home videos and remembering the past. All of these scenes are way too long. We're almost 40 minutes into this movie. There has been 1 4-minute fight scene and 7 conversations and 3 flashbacks. What is happening right now? It's like I'm wondering if there's a good movie in here somewhere that could be re-edited. Like maybe if Gwen doesn't die as soon, and maybe if there's a little, if we separate the scene of MJ and Harry fighting so that's not right next to each other. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Ooh, here comes my favorite part. This is my favorite part right here. Hold on. Do you see it? Do you see it? You probably don't, because he's just walking. He's just walking. And he's going to be walking a long time. And then you'll never believe what happens next. We watch the same flashback we had a minute ago in his dream, just now we're on a roof. But the flashback does lead us into an actual fight scene with actual Spider-Man. No, I shouldn't say that. That's not actually Spider-Man. Oh no. Oh no. And it becomes painfully clear why they shoved this fight scene 45 minutes into the movie. The mask isn't terrible, it's just it doesn't move. So when he's talking or the camera's on him for longer than literally a second, it's so uncanny. So we don't even get to see what happened. And if you're wondering if I jump cut there or anything, it's like, oh, how did his suit end up dead? Nope. That's just, you didn't get to see that part. They didn't have the money to show you that part. They didn't have the money to show you that part. God, and what sucks is that I feel like this might not even look so bad if it wasn't for the terrible, awful, fake CG smoke and dust green screen .mp4 they downloaded from YouTube to put over top of this. Like, they probably thought it made it look more cinematic, but it just kind of makes it look like trash. Like, look at that fire in the background.
Everything around you.
And why is it so dark in there if there's fire everywhere? Am I crazy? Fire's bright, yo. Okay, so Green Goblin makes them feel guilty. They barely punch each other anymore. They did it for a little bit, don't worry. Oh, more city shots. This one's at night. Oh, okay, I noticed this the first time. I'm gonna point this out again. He slowed this footage down for some reason. Why did he do that? It's really good footage, but you could tell he slowed it down to half speed because every frame drags. I just am so confused by the choices. I think he literally dragged out some scenes in slow motion to make the movie longer because it's exactly 2 hours long. And I feel like he told himself that no matter what, it was going to be 2 hours long. And it fucking feels like it. So, believe it or not, we get more flashbacks between MJ and Gwen. Peter's not there this time, so that's different.
You know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I was always a little bit jealous of him.
So then Flash shows up, and oddly enough, he's the nicest guy in this movie. And they even try to, like, do this little thing where he's like, well, I was always jealous of Peter at the end of the day, and we don't need that. And this entire 5 to 6 minute scene is all just to tell us that Harry's back in town. It's actually to tell MJ that Harry's back in town.
I don't even know if he's in the city.
You didn't know?
No, what?
Osborn's back in town. Buddy might saw him earlier this week.
Flash. It was good seeing you.
Good seeing you too, MJ.
She just fucking swings off the roof like Spider-Man 2. Gotta go see Harry. At least somebody would finally fucking swing in this movie. Jesus.
The flip of a kick and a little bit of webbing. Spider-Man.
I hope I'm not interrupting.
That's illegal, Spider-Man. You just broke into that little boy's room. What if his mom wasn't in the room with him? But yes, after almost an hour of the movie, he's finally going to visit the kid, which I thought would be the kind of early inciting incident that makes him realize that he needs to be Spider-Man again. And then we actually find out who the villain is. Spoilers, there is no villain in this movie. I mean, like, that's fine. The villain is depression. So there are some really genuinely wholesome and cute scenes with this kid. He's not a terrible kid actor. I'll give him that much, especially for an indie fan film. They found a kid who knows what he's doing. And there's a lot of these cute moments with him showing him Spider-Man stuff and how he says he hates the Daily Bugle because they always slander him, and it's pretty wholesome.
I like this a lot because you look like a ninja when you web those stuff and stuff. This one I got at the game store. The game that plays wire suit is black and red in this.
This is great and all. Why not Captain America? Or Thor?
What do you mean?
Why me?
That wasn't even in the script. That was just the actor asking the director off scene, why are we doing this? What? Why? The only problem with this whole scene is that, again, it goes on way too long and it doesn't really build any character. Spider-Man is still just kind of being a dick and treating the kid like shit and telling him that he shouldn't look up to him or be his fan, really. So then we cut back to Harry and MJ crying in the rain. Whatever. So Spider-Man gives his backstory about Uncle Ben, and it's really awkwardly paced because for the first half of the story, he keeps it really vague as if you already know what happened. He's like, I could have stopped it. I should have stopped it. I could have done more, but I didn't. It honestly sounds like a Batman monologue, which is the most annoying part about this movie, is that this isn't Spider-Man, this is like mini Batman. This is red and blue Batman. Even though it's vague, it eventually gets more specific, where he actually tells the kid, Uncle Ben died. It was that killer that I didn't stop. I could have stopped him. So it's like, why waste our time with the vague storyline, pretending like, oh, well, if you already know, I'm not going to spell it out, and then spell it out immediately. Man, you know what? This Spider-Man little kid stuff is cool and all, but you know what I could really use? I could really use Harry and MJ crying in the rain more. Could we get some of that? Could maybe... Yes! They cry and talk, and they talk and they cry, and they cry and they talk, and they have more flashbacks. And Harry talks about how he's a drug addict, and MJ's like, I know. Apparently the director looks at drug use the same way Michael Jordan does.
Stop it.
And it's that easy. But before it even gets to that Harry and MJ scene, there's a scene where Spider-Man basically tells the kid to just give up. Hope is useless, and at the end of the day, we all just die. And I'd like to remind you that this kid is dying. He's literally dying. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? To the point where the mother has to come out and basically smack him upside the head and be like, go tell my son he's gonna fucking be fine because he's gonna die in a week, you piece of shit! So then, can you guess what actually makes Spider-Man want to go back to being Spider-Man? Ego. Yep. The little kid shows him all of his successful stories and how awesome he is. And you can visibly see Spider-Man being like, I am fucking awesome. Yes! This is the only reason to be Spider-Man, is to then later recollect on how fucking sick I am. So then right before leaving, Spider-Man agrees to actually let the kid see his real face.
I've never shown anyone my true face before. If any of my enemies find out who I am, people I love get hurt. Can I trust you?
He's gonna die! Jesus fucking Christ, keep it down, kid. What the fuck did I just say? So he says goodbye, and they have a wholesome little hug, and he tells him that, you know, he'll always be his hero, and blah, blah, blah. And Spider-Man's actually acting a little bit like Spider-Man at the hour and 28 mark. Awesome. Sick. By the way, I don't know if I've mentioned this whole time. This movie's 2 hours long. Headlines the next day on Daily Bugle. Spider-Man seen leaving the bedroom of a small child. Grunts heard from inside. So then Spider-Man goes and visits Gwen's gravestone again. And while he's there, he happens upon another gravestone that looks a little familiar. Yep, he's dead.
It felt like I had no one to live for. It was selfish. But Tim helped me see a little more clearly.
So then we have our epic build-up final moment where you think you're gonna have your big last swing as Spider-Man. He's on the rooftop, he's ready to go, you think he's gonna start swinging. And then nope. Yep, we're back at his apartment. We're still just at his apartment. Okay. Oh, good. Harry and MJ are here. Nice. I guess they're gonna wrap things up. Kind of forgot they had anything to do with this at all because they kind of didn't. So they all talk and make their plans to finally hang out after such a long time after Gwen's death, which I think was only like a week, but whatever. They decide to go to the going away party for Flash. I believe he's going to the military or something like that. They don't really explain it. But then you wouldn't fucking believe what happens. Don't do it. Dude, do not do this. Do not. What did you learn, dude? What was the whole point of this entire movie if not to learn that your friends are there for you when you need them, and you're abandoning them the only time you've agreed to meet with each other? Shouldn't the whole point of this movie been that, hey, maybe you don't have to be Spider-Man 24/7 because you weren't, first of all, you refused to be Spider-Man or show Spider-Man. Okay, I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna calm down. I'm getting a little riled up here. Getting a little riled up. I hate this movie. You know, the first time I watched it, I didn't think I really hated it. You know, I did not like it. There was a lot of issues. There was some breaking of the 180 rule, like in Superman Solar, not as egregious. There was a few moments of weird lighting that didn't make any sense. No, this is genuinely not very good. It's competently shot, slightly better written than your average fan film, but it's so drawn out. It's so bloated. They really needed an editor to come in and cut all of this around, even switch scenes around, change the pacing, change the flow. It's conversation after conversation after conversation, then a flashback, then a conversation, then a guy walking for a half an hour, then a conversation. It's a nightmare. Okay, I'm just going to make a quick little note at the end here about my opinions on the Gavin situation. What Gavin said was disgusting, horrible. There is no defense of the things that he said in the past. But I do believe in people changing. I believe that we should advocate for people to change, and the only way to do that is to actually support the people when they do try to change. Now, I'm not saying we should all go out there and 100% gung-ho act like he's an awesome guy, but how can we ever expect anybody or anything to grow if we don't give them the chance and just always label them as X, Y, or Z? That's really my only take on it. I don't want to defend the guy too much because he still does kind of maybe seem like a piece of shit. And I know there's more backstory with a lot of the donators. I know there was a lot of controversy with the VFX team he was working with, and some people felt that they were underpaid and underappreciated. So there's a lot more to it than just his past posts that I'm aware of. But for that matter, we should advocate for change. But remember, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, please like. Remember to join my Discord. I have a link in the description. We have an awesome community over there who's always sharing funny memes, good music, just a bunch of great guys and gals. Goys, as I like to call them. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next review. Peace!